Hiya, going to talk about this Samsung thing in just a minute. Some very interesting questions. I'm not doing a repair tonight, this is just a Sunday ramblings, and lots of good questions have been asked. Oh, hang on, I'm over here. I've got to stand still. Stand still, otherwise you're in trouble. Some good questions this week, so thanks very much for the questions. I'm going to try and get through them. God, I feel so tall tonight, I don't know why, it's just weird. And we'll talk about that Samsung thing in just a minute, but I've got a question for you. Are you ready? The question is, in the comments please, has World War III started? Some people will say it probably started about 6 months ago. It's weird, isn't it? We're in weird times. Just strange. The question I always ask myself, with the billions of people that are in this country, just look at all the leaders that we have at the moment. So whenever you see a G7, G8 World Leaders Summit, those people that we're looking at are the best in the world to keep this world spinning around safely and beautifully. And whenever you see a meeting of these world leaders, do you look at them and go, is that really the best? Or is it changed? Have we now gone from the best people that want to serve the people of the world, or your country, wherever you are, have we gone to now who wants to become the richest and the most powerful? I think it's the latter. Definitely the last 10 years or so, it seems to be the latter. But just weird times. You just get on with life day by day. Right, Samsung, the lawsuit thing. Somebody asked me a question. If there's enough people, could we get a lawsuit against Samsung for failing TVs? Yeah, if there's enough people, but you're talking about thousands and thousands. And the problem that we've got, if you're watching this outside the UK, you won't understand this. I did do a little video on it about a year ago, and I linked it to the post office scandal, which is still going on right now. You'd have thought they'd have sorted that out. There's been a post office scandal in the UK, and I'm not going to go through the details of it, but basically you could sum it up by saying that all the individual postmasters were told, well, nobody else has said anything. It's just you. You've got the dodgy till. You're not balancing your books. It's your fault. And it's the same with these big companies and their TVs. They're all turning around and saying, and so are the retailers. Oh, I didn't know, you must just have a funny one. I haven't heard that all these are failing. And of course, I'm talking about the Samsung AUs, the TUs before that, and the QLED sets. I did a video on the QLED set. That's what started this. Somebody asked me, I repaired the QLED. And I said I'd got the picture back perfect and I'd keep you up to date because I've used it as a monitor. It's over here, look. Now, I've just put myself down the bottom for a reason. When I repaired this TV, by just doing the paper trick, there is no repair for the TV, and I should stop saying that I've repaired it. I haven't. I've botched it, I found a way around it, and I got the picture back. Somebody donated this TV. This is one of the Samsung QLEDs. And I did say when I've repaired it, I've got the picture perfect. What I meant by that at the time is there are no lines. Sometimes you get the picture back and you find the line which has been causing the problems all along, but it now just looks like a line on the TV. And sometimes it can flicker a little bit, but it's difficult to show you through a lens. But if you just have a look, and I'm going to turn around, so excuse my fat head. If you just have a look at, I know it's a close-up of snooker, but can you tell a difference between, or can you first of all see the fault on that? There is a difference, and the difference is, if you split the picture down the middle, look at the right-hand side and look at the left-hand side, especially on that camera scene when it goes here, when it goes back to the carpet. Look, the carpet on the right-hand side is a pinky colour, which it's supposed to be. The carpet on the left-hand side is a different colour. It's the same carpet. And that's what's the fault is with this. The colour on the left-hand side has lost some of its red. Let's just put it that way. 9 times out of 10, nobody would notice. It's only on the colour red that you notice. but there's a slight colour discrepancy on the left-hand side. So, but the TV hasn't got any worse. I mean, I only repaired it. I've got to stop saying repaired. I only sorted that a month ago. So, yes, it's still working, but it's not perfect. And it's the sort of thing I would never give back to a customer, or I'd never charge for that. And most time the customers will say, keep it. And that's why I've kept this as a monitor. Again, I can't remember where this one came from, but obviously it was given to me. You can't charge for these because if they go wrong 5 days later, your name becomes Mud or Susie Quattro or Sweet. Right, I think that's everything back where I had it. So yeah, class suit action against Samsung. There's going to be, you're going to need thousands and thousands, and you've all got to prove you've got the same fault with the same model TV. Not as difficult as you may think it is, especially through a channel like this, because we all know that the TUs have gone faulty. Just about every one, I believe, has died. These are the TUs that have got the edgelets. If it's a 7100, they're backlit and different panels. But it's still happening. I have been given, that one I've just showed you, I've just been given a 65-inch version of that, which I think's got the same problem. And I'm going to repair it and use it as a big monitor in front of me just here. I think if I can, stop saying repair it, if I can get the picture back. That's going to be my plan. But I don't ever think we'll see a class action against Samsung because their lawyers are bigger than anybody else's lawyers. The TV's worth about, what, £300, £400. It just ain't worth it. But that doesn't mean, you know, we shouldn't stop spreading the word. Because you have to understand, Samsung years ago, when I first started repairing TVs, when I got back into it full time, about 10 years ago, Samsung were great TVs. And we were Samsung partners, we were Samsung agents, we could get any part. Even the screen if we had to, and we could fix all of them. But screens weren't failing in those days. It was circuit boards, it was power supplies, main boards, T-cons in particular with Samsungs of the ilk 10 years ago, and backlights. And they were just easy to fix, and they were worth fixing because Samsung was a premium set. I've got a funny feeling you wouldn't really class, and again, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but would you class Samsung now, 2025, as a premium product for their TVs? Are they pricier than any others? I'm not too sure they are. I think they've, shall we say, become competitively priced. And there's a reason for that. When they fail after a year and a half, 2 years, most customers will just throw it away and go and buy a new one. We're seeing fewer and fewer of them for obvious reasons. But no, I don't think we're going to see a... if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in America. But at the moment, I think America is busy enough with other problems. Let's not get political. Otherwise, I'll be here all night. I've got my Yorkshire puddings in. I'm only doing 15, 20 minutes, he says. The other thing, just a couple of questions about my other channel, which is not a repair channel. It's just the drone footage. There's my little drone. There we go. Doesn't it look nice? Doesn't it look brand new? Well, there's a reason for that. It is. I literally unboxed this morning. Somebody said to me, I'm not putting any drone channels. I've got a channel which is called Horizon Southwest. I'll just give it a quick plug. And I don't monetize that channel. The only reason I set up a channel for my drone, if you like it, great. Thank you very much for your support. But it's not really supposed to be a public channel. It's so I can see in 4K the drone footage that I take. But I've been so busy of late. I've been flying the drone every day, but I haven't been editing it and sticking it up. I'm keeping all the files on my computer. Some more will go up. But the reason that's a new drone is because yesterday I did some fantastic footage yesterday. I went to places that are, you know, probably you might say it's a little bit naughty to film because there are rules and regulations. One of the biggest regulations with a question mark at the moment is VLOS. Have you heard of VLOS? Stands for Visual Line of Sight. In other words, this drone, which is the smallest 4K drone, I won't say professional drone, but it's the smallest. I mean, look, there's my hand. I have got big hands, missus, but that excuse me, there's my hand. It's a small drone. Visual line of sight, it means you're supposed to be able to see this at all times. Now, with my glasses on, I can see the moon. But with something this size, that goes out of sight after 100 meters. And so, you know, if you're flying it around a harbour, you soon lose it. Luckily, they're quite noisy drones, so you can see it, but you're not supposed to lose sight of it, but you do. It's so small. It's a rule that was made up before they'd made drones that small. It's when drones were about that big. That's what that is for. Sorry, I'm wandering out of shot again. But I am putting some more footage up. In fact, I stuck up a really nice one of St. Ives. If you live in the UK, you'll know St. Ives, and you'll have heard of it. Beautiful place. And I did some great footage around there. Fantastic. That was only a couple of days ago. I think I've stuck that up. I think the St. Ives footage is up on the channel, so go and have a look at that. But the reason this is a new drone is because yesterday, again, I did some great footage. I went to a couple of places that I've never been to before. You know, sometimes just around the block there are some fantastic views, because I'm lucky to be living in a seaside area. Some fantastic views, and you just don't get a chance to visit them all. So I picked on a couple yesterday, and I did some fantastic footage. But on the second one, the second place that I went to, it's my own fault. The winds got a little bit too much, and it blew the drone into the sea. And that was it. Bye-bye drone. Now, you're probably thinking you must have got very upset. Obviously, yes. But not so much upset about losing the drone, but the footage is kept on here. There is a built-in card. It may be an SD card, I doubt it, but there's a built-in memory of 22 gigabytes in there. So all your footage, well, all my footage went into the sea and to the bottom of the ocean. So I lost it, and I was devastated on that. Not too devastated about losing the drone, even though this is drone number 3 now. The first one burnt out, but I do have them insured, and if they're insured, they do send you a new drone, and I will be getting a new drone in a couple of days' time. But I always have one on standby just in case, because this is kind of my number one hobby now. And these are very small, 135 grams, so there's no weight to them, and a gust of wind can blow it. And I've been working out. In fact, if you have a look at this footage, I went to a place called St. Maur's today, which you have to cross a ferry to. It's about 40 minutes away from here, but again, it's a lovely place. It was a bit dull and overcast today, but I took a friend shopping. She wanted to buy something over there, and so I just stuck the drone up, and I knew it was breezy, so I wanted to keep away from the water. I didn't want a repeat of yesterday. Imagine losing 2 drones in 2 days. Wow. I almost did. Look at this footage. You'll see just here where the wind takes control of the drone, and because it's an onshore wind, it's about 30 miles an hour, the wind, pretty gusty. The onshore wind, as you see, pushes it into the sea, and I have to fight to bring it back. Luckily I was quite high, but sometimes as well as the wind blowing it into the sea, I mean, I was actually filming over the sea yesterday when I lost mine, and it just plunged into the water, and that was it. But this time I did manage to fight to bring it back. I was close to the sea, but I wasn't flying over it, but it blew it in that direction, as you could see, because they're so light. And it's great that they are light, but that's the problem. And I've worked out that wind speeds of anything over 25 miles an hour, don't go anywhere near water, don't go near the sea. 20 to 25 miles an hour, keep away from the sea, just do some scenic shots, and you're okay. And then you know, when the wind drops to below 10 miles an hour, then you can do the sea. That's my rule. What was some more of your questions? Somebody said, why don't I repair the Sony bricks? Do you remember I did the Sony TV a couple of days ago? I think I put the video up the day before yesterday. And I was testing it on 2 Sony power supplies that didn't work. But the third one I found did work. Well, the first two weren't faulty. It's not that they didn't work. Even though all power supplies from Sony look very similar, I was going to switch some lights on them, but I won't, because I think we're in focus and I don't want to upset it. So there is a massive difference. Let me show you. So the power supplies weren't faulty, but if you have a look at these were two of the bricks that I had yesterday. One of them worked. You can understand why we call them bricks, obviously. One of them didn't work for the TV, and you have to look at the amps. Now look at this one. The bigger one is 1.4 amps. That's all it is, and that wasn't strong enough to power up that 43 inch TV. It was making the main board flicker on and off, and this is the one that brought it on. And I don't know if you can see, there's a bigger difference. This is it 6.2, 5.2? So it says there, 5.2 amps. So even though Sony bricks are the same, I'm only mentioning this because some people thought, well, one guy said, why don't you repair it? It's only going to be capacitors. It's not faulty. I think this one was for a 32 inch, oh sorry, the big one was for a 32 inch TV. This one was probably for the 42 to 55 inch range. So not faulty, just different amps. So if you've ever replaced your Sony brick or bought one that doesn't work, that's probably the reason why. You have to make sure you get the amps right for yours, otherwise it could be problematic. What else did somebody... Oh, the other thing I want to talk about, yes, Paul Daniels did a great video. If you watch Paul Daniels' videos, doing the MacBooks and other things, Paul Daniels did a reply to Northridge Fix. I mean, I did mine, or I did my version of what I thought, because it didn't affect me directly, because I'm just small fry, man. But Paul Daniels is pretty big fry. I class Paul and Soren and Lewis Rossman as amongst the big guys that started everybody off. They didn't start me off. The guy that started me off was the Canadian guy. I think his name's Dave. I call him a grumpy old Canadian, but he really is. But he's only repairing VCRs these days, and I've got no love for VCRs whatsoever. DVD recorders and stuff, but he used to do a lot of televisions. And I suddenly thought, oh, do you know what? I like video editing. I could record some of mine and put them up, and that's what started me off. So I think it was Dave that inspired me or made me do the YouTube thing. But the big guys, you know, like Lewis Rossman and Paul Daniels and Electronics Repair School and many others, they came under a bit of fire. But Paul Daniels did a really nice reply yesterday, and I think he explained it much better than I ever could. So I don't know if you've seen that video. It's worth making a note, and it's worth going to have a look at. The other question that I wanted to... I've got a funny feeling I've asked... Sorry if I've answered this question already this week, but I'm not too sure if I have. We were talking about people that don't collect their goods. So when they drop a faulty good off, a faulty appliance off, and then they don't collect it. Well, I don't really suffer from that. I would say 99% of all repairs that I do get collected pretty quickly, because I don't have much space. You know, this is a small unit. It's not storage, so when I've repaired it, I like them to either come and collect it the same day or the next day. I do quite a bit of chasing on them if I have to. I don't have to do much, so I don't really suffer from that. The only time I've suffered with it was this, which is now mine. I didn't want it. It's classed as a top end, well, I would say mid to top end CD player. It's made by Riga. I'll just show it you there. And this is the Apollo, and it's got a power supply fault. Even though it's top of the range, it does have capacitor problems, and I've done a few of these before. But it's quite an expensive repair for what it is. It was 75 quid, parts and labour. But the guy okayed it and agreed it. But I've been trying to chase him up for months now to come and collect it. I don't want it. I've got no use for it whatsoever. These are going between £200 and £300 on eBay, so there's something special about them. I don't know what. And it's now repaired, and it will carry on working for quite some time after I did the power supply. But he turned around a couple of months ago. Well, he didn't. I think he got his sister or his wife to say he doesn't want it anymore. And I thought, well, that's nothing to do with me whether he wants it or not, but he wanted it repaired, and we had it repaired. Anyway, so he's not coming back to get it. And I've asked for that in writing, and I got it in writing. Well, I got it in text, which is a writing to say that he doesn't want it. And I can do with it what I will. So I shall flog this for £100. I shall put it on Marketplace maybe, because, as I say, £200 to £300 on eBay. So it does happen. People do leave stuff here. Not usually once it's been fixed. Once a price has been agreed. Normally they come and collect it and everyone's happy and it's all good. But for some particular reason, when I did the power supply on this CD player, he decided he didn't want it anymore. And I made the mistake. Normally, if somebody agrees a price, I get a deposit to cover parts and a bit of time. Not a huge deposit, but I get a deposit, and I never asked him for a deposit. I don't know why, I just didn't. Maybe because I thought it wasn't going to be an expensive repair, £75. But anyway, I'm going to put this on Marketplace for £100 probably next week, or the week after. And somebody can have it. I've got absolutely no use for it. The biggest problem with people leaving the TVs or appliances is when you can't fix them. They don't want to come back and collect it. You know, they just don't. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm chock-a-block, and I don't have a van, and it's not my responsibility to go and start taking stuff to the recycling centre. So I'm making a big change in the next few months. I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff in my lockup, a lot of stuff. It's all going to go, and I'm going to start charging customers a deposit to keep their things here. I do charge a deposit for repair anyway, but if I'm also going to be charging a small deposit to look at it, which will then cover the cost if it can't be repaired. And if it can't be repaired, very few people come and fetch it. They just forget. Oh, I'll come. Yeah, give me a couple of days. I'll be in touch. You never hear from them again, and you just end up with. Sometimes you think, okay, oh great, I'll keep it for spare parts. Yeah, that'll come in handy, but they don't. It's a myth. I think I talked myself into about 5 years ago that building up a load of spare parts is great. But then all of a sudden you've got 60 TVs in a lockup, and after a couple of years you realise that you're not touching them. Time moves on, and it really is a pain. But very few paying customers, or that will agree to have something repaired, leave them here. They normally come and collect them. That CD player was a bit of a one-off. Anyway, that's all my ramblings for today. We've got lots of other things. I do promise this week that I will do that Panasonic 55-inch, because I want to, because I've got the spare screen supports for it, the pillars. I've got those, and we're going to use those and get that working. But there is a reason why I've not rushed into getting that. Again, I'm not going to put a new set of backlights in it. So I've got second-hand backlights, but I can't sell the TV because I can't put a warranty on it. So I shall repair it for the channel, and then I don't know. So that's why I've not been in a rush to do that. And I'm going to bring that 65-inch in here. I couldn't do it if it was a backlight, but the 65-inch version of the TV I've just shown you with the snooker, just to see if I get the picture back. There's bound to be a colour imbalance, but I am going to do that this week. In fact, that might be tomorrow night. It's in the lockup, and a friend is helping me bring it up here tomorrow. So I may video that tomorrow evening, and it may get up tomorrow night. If not, it will be Tuesday. Anyway, my Yorkshire puddings will be done now. Once again, hello to all the new subscribers. Nice to have you on board. Thank you very much. Please keep your comments coming in about whatever questions I've asked. I asked them 10 minutes ago, but I've completely forgot. and I'll stick up some more repair videos during the course of the week. Have a nice week. Speak to you soon.